Well, we continue here in Branson on Mid-South Viewpoint on Bot Radio Network, helping you to plan a vacation to Branson this summer. That's what it's all about. And we want you to go to the website, explorebranson.com, for everything we're talking about. Pam Yancey is here. She is the new president of the Branson Chamber. She's my new co-host, and Pam, we're having more fun than a barrel of monkeys.
Oh my gosh, I have had the best time. I haven't even, been stressed or anything. You just make it really comfortable, and so we're having us a good time. We're getting ready to even have a better time because look who's sitting on the seat next to me.
Well, you know what? We got Mr. Country here.
We do.
Because we talk about genres of music, and you've got everything. You've got gospel, you've got rock. There's something for everybody, music style. But there's something about that country song, and Billy Yates, always good to have you here.
It's great to be here. Great to see you again.
Where have you been hiding yourself? It's been a couple of years.
Well, I've been most of the time been in Nashville. Been working on some new projects. Was working on a couple of records on Charlie Pride. So I do a lot of production and that kind of thing. And then also was touring Europe some, and so just staying busy, trying to stay out of trouble.
And you're going back to Europe this summer, aren't you?
I'll be back over in July. Yeah. So I toured Europe for about 13 years, and built a good following and just made a lot of friends. And so it's hard to give that up. It's like you want to go back and see everybody again. So I don't go over as often as I did. I was over early this year, did shows in the Netherlands and in Denmark, and then this summer I'll do stuff and some shows in Switzerland. So, how's
your son and daughter-in-law who came to Branson after doing America's Got Talent and did
Voices of Glory?
Voices of Glory. She is amazing, and she meets your amazing son.
Yeah, and so we're so glad to have her in the family. It's they got married back in June. Last year, and so they're doing great. So they're living in St. Joseph, Missouri. He's in medical school. And so she still travels and does some music. She comes here and sings at Woodland Hills Church some, and travels around doing a lot of churches and like women's events. And she speaks now at some of those. So she's just phenomenal. I mean, we just love her.
She's precious.
Yeah,
we had her come and sing the national anthem for one of our annual membership luncheon that we had at the Chateau. And I am telling you, she had the whole crowd in the palm of her hand. I had goosebumps a mile high listening to her sing our
so she was living
anthem.
with us. So after, when we went back to Nashville, she went down and was living with us down there and had a lot of things going on. Then COVID hit, and then things kind of fell apart there. And so she was living with us. It's like she became like our daughter before she became our daughter-in-law, and so.
What a great family, great story, just how God has worked in that family.
Yes.
And a really miracle. I mean, Dad would bring up the kids. Nadia's the youngest with the two brothers, go up to the hospital when Mom was in the hospital to kind of sing and to make Mama remember some good songs, some gospel songs, and encourage Mom. And other people in the hospital would say, hey, come sing to me, And so it just went crazy there.
It's a gift.
It is a gift. It definitely is a gift. Really is. There's a lot of entertainers that are doing stuff like the Cole family did.
Right.
But they don't get recognized.
No.
But they're just doing it every week, making music together.
Yeah, and so many people do get recognized now with so much going on with social media and that kind of thing. The one thing that I would note, I think that when I came to Branson for the first time, I think it was in like 2016, doing Radio Country Vault was the show that brought me here.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun and everything. And so, but there were a lot of times where it's like, I had Europe tugging at me. I had a lot of other things going on when I came here, and I felt like I don't want to turn my back on these things. Like sometimes I question, it's like why am I doing this? It's like as much fun as it was, but you know what? I mean, I really believe that so much of it was God doing this thing by bringing those kids together. So Grayson would come here in the summers. And he would spend his summers here.
Yeah.
And so he became friends with Nadia.
Yeah.
And so they were friends for a long time before they even started dating. And so I really think a lot of the reason that we're in Branson, period, is because, God doing this thing, bringing those two together.
Billy, did you think in your wildest imagination that you would write songs for George Jones one day, that you would have #1 country hit songs? I mean, you've had songs, Rocking Chair, Choices for starters. Those are just a few of many, great hits that you've worked with other incredible talent.
Been so blessed. Growing up in southeast Missouri, I grew up in a little town called Doniphan, And we actually bought a house. We have a place over there close to the Current River, and so we spend a lot of time over there. That's kind of home. This is home. Nashville's home. It's like, I don't know. It's like we said we're going home. It's like, where's that? It's like, I don't know.
Which one?
Which one? But, you know, growing up over there, it was a small town, you know, about 1,000 people. When I was a kid there, my dad was a barber. And so it was just like, it was like Mayberry, you know, and I was Opie. And, you know, and when you're that kid, I don't know, it's like, it's hard to know how to dream big enough. And it's hard to, you know, you're not exposed to that much, you know, I mean, and because you didn't have the internet and you didn't have, you know, so the world was tiny, you know, but it was also vast in a way that, you know, you had no idea what's really out there.
Yeah.
So for a kid like that, you know, I think to ever, you know, there was no way that I could dream that, you know, one day I would meet some of my heroes, or that I would become friends with some of my heroes, or that I would write songs that had an impact on their amazing, you know, historical careers.
A young boy from a small town, and eventually you've been on the Grand Ole Opry. I mean,
53 times.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. I pinch myself.
And do you get as excited every time as the first time?
And every time I always treat it like it's my last, because it might be. You know, you never know. It's invitation only, and so, you know, I just sit by the phone and wait for them to call.
Yeah, I told Pam earlier, I had a chance. I've stood in the circle myself, not to sing or entertain. We had Ricky Skaggs and the Gettys were doing a concert, and we were promoting it. So I said, I got to stand on the stage, got to stand in the circle, you know. So knowing the history that's there. So when you write a song like Choices, what was going on in your life? What were you thinking? What was happening? Did you collaborate with that song, or did you do it on your own?
I collaborated. So there was a buddy of mine named Mike Curtis, and we've been writing a lot of like kind of more pop. He was a great piano player, is a great piano player, and those great melodies were there. And so I loved writing lyrics with a guy like that doing these like amazing melodies. And because I'm really a 3-chord kind of country kind of player, you know. So if I'm writing the melody, it's going to sound like George Jones probably, or something like that. And so we'd written a lot of songs together. He came out to my house to write one day, and of course there was no piano, and I said, look, we're stuck with like these my tired old melodies, you know, or whatever. And so we ended up writing Choices, and it was an idea that I'd had for a while. It's a song I'd kind of started, had kind of put back, and had just kind of, you know, I felt like I love ideas. And of course, as a songwriter, I've written over 3,000 songs, so they're not all coming from a personal place. I mean, a lot of them are just ideas, and there's a lot of craft involved, and there's, you know, some are, some aren't. I'd say that song was more of just, I know how to write this. I know this, and this will speak to people. This will be a message that a lot of people need to hear, want to hear, to feel so not so alone in whatever they're going through. And so, you know, that was important to me. And a lot of songs I've written kind of do that. And so, like if a songwriter would meet me up in a writing session and say, I've got this idea, and most writers would take it from the angle of, well, how does that relate to a relationship? How does that idea, how could we, and I always think, how does it relate to life? So to kind of take it to another whole place.
Kind of where people are.
And that's where people are. And so speak to more people. You know.
Down Home Country is a show here in Branson that really is going to kick off in the fall. Is that the one?
So we're doing, so we started in April, and so we wrap up the end of May.
Right.
Here, and then we pick back up in September, and then we go all the way through the middle of December.
Okay. So we want folks to know, we want our Bott Radio Network friends to know about that. So back in September, you'll be back on stage here in Branson all the way through the end of the year. Tell me about the show.
It is an amazing show. Of course, everybody says that about the show they're in, right? And,
but this one really is.
This one really is.
I mean it. It's like, you know, it's not, you know. When I was here doing Raiding the Country Vault, which is a huge production show.
Oh my goodness,
country,
that was incredible.
You know, my favorite show in town, and I don't mean any, you know, ill will to anybody, but it's just my kind of music, was always the Down Home Country show. That morning show, I'd go over there, and it was like going to church for me. It was just like, you know, it was just, I heard these old songs that, you know, I hadn't heard in a long time, done so well, great band, great, you know, just in the comedy, everything about it felt like what I thought, you know, Branson was, you know, and it's like the great country music, the great comedy, and so I always loved the show. So, and
this is a morning show.
It's a morning show, 10 a.m. So I have to be up by about 6:30 or 7 just to have my eyes open by 10, and much less be able to sing. But when Mike Patrick asked me about doing the show, He's a general manager over there. And
oh, Mike's a great guy. Yeah,
he's a wonderful
everybody knows
guy.
Mike and loves Mike.
Everybody loves him.
Yes.
And when he asked me about doing it, my first response was probably not. Just because I just didn't want to make the commitment, and I thought the mornings, like, I don't know, whatever. And then the more I thought about it and talked it over with my wife, we going through all scenarios.
Yeah.
And anyway, just decided to do it. And I don't want to say reluctantly. Once I committed, I was committed, and it's like, I'm going to do this. It'll be fun. I'm going to have fun no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, got in there, and it's like, oh my Lord, it is so much fun.
Oh.
I love everybody in the show. I look forward every morning. I get up and look forward to going in. I'm sad that we have a few, like 4 shows left.
Yeah.
Before we break for the summer. Can't wait till fall.
Yeah.
We worked really hard, kind of laying the foundation. I think that in the spring we kind of lay the foundation for groups and for we have a lot of receptives. A lot of people come in and see the show to know what we offer, knowing full well that we start back up in September, and we'll have hopefully parking lot full of buses.
Well, I'm telling you, some folks, Pam, will say morning show. But here in Branson, it's a great way to start.
It's a great way to start the day.
The great late Buck Trent, he had an 8 o'clock show here that he invited me to, and I thought 8 o'clock, but my goodness, he was there at the front door with that blue sequence, jacket on, greeting everybody to come in, big smile on his face, made you feel like you're part of the family. And some of the greatest entertainers in Branson were on stage. What a great way, Pam, to start your day.
What a great way to start your day, especially with Buck Trent. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. He was something else. But you're continuing that legacy here.
That's the way I see it. And I love that. And, and you realize, and now I haven't done the show for several weeks. You walk out there, and these are people that, they had that breakfast buffet or whatever they get at the hotel or wherever they're staying to go have breakfast somewhere, and they're ready to go do something. And so they come out and they enjoy that show. Sometimes at the 7:30 show, I'd see some of the older ones falling asleep on the front row. As energetic as it was, like they're tired. They've been going since. But they started at 6 for breakfast, and they did something, took their walk or whatever. Then they came to a 10 o'clock show.
They still got a lot of energy at the 10 o'clock show. They'll be hooping and hollering.
That's right.
That's the lively show.
Okay, so we're going to be excited for September to come now for Down Home Country again at the Grand Country. Gosh, that's an entertainment place in itself. You can just stay. You can park your car and never go anywhere.
What I love about the 10 a.m. show and what really works well is when I get done with that show at 12, I could be over at that buffet.
That's right. That's right.
The real reason.
That's why now we know why you took it.
That's why. That's what Mike had to throw in the buffet on the deal, right? That's one of those fringe benefits.
That's right. Some great food at the buffet. You got the indoor water park, and they got an incredible gift shop over there too, and it's just a great place to hang out too when you're in Branson. So, what's the website? How can we stay in touch with you on social media?
So, all of my stuff is at BillyYates.com. Of course, social media is on my Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I do it all.
You got a new song spinning in your head right now?
I do not.
You not? Okay.
Hey, Billy, I just want, because you get, yours has the little blue check by your name, right?
It doesn't.
It doesn't?
No.
Okay.
No. So there are some imposters out there. But
what do we look for when we go to look for? Now, I know because I'm your friend. But
I'm his friend too.
The funny thing is, a lot of my friends will say, "Is this you? Or is this you?" It's like, no, I have more than 2 followers. Just look, because the ones they started up like that to create the whole imposter thing. It's like, okay, no, I have a few more than that. So
that's right.
Like, that's not me.
Billy Yates, it's always a pleasure, buddy, to have you in the studio here with Bot Radio Network. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Well, likewise. Thank you.
We're so blessed in Branson to have someone with your talent here, and how well you're known. And so we want you. We can't wait till September.
Branson is a blessing to me, and I love it. And so another reason to come back and do this show is I get to spend time with all my friends here, and work with the chamber. Was on the chamber board.
He sure was. We actually served on the board together at the same time before I went into full-time employment there. So.
That's awesome.
That's right.
Thanks, Billy, so much.
Thank you.